Buongiorno, good evening, everyone. My name is Duccio Chiarini, and I'm a filmmaker from Florence, Italy, and this is my producer, Babak Jalali from Iran. Hi. The project we're presenting here, it's called Short Skin, and it's a bittersweet comedy, which is unfortunately inspired to my sexual misadventures when I was a teenager. During my summer in Pisa at my grandparents' house. And it follows the sexual misadventures of Edoardo, which is now 17. It's Pisa, summer of '93. It's a warm evening in July, and as his parents are celebrating their 20th anniversary in the garden, Edoardo just locked himself in a toilet and is trying to have sex with a fresh octopus that his father just fished in the water 2 days before. Why? Not because he's a sushi lover, not because he's outraged with his parents and he wants to punish them somehow. This is not the deal. He's doing this because he finally decided that this summer he wants to try to overcome his sexual insecurity and a problem, a condition that has afflicted him since he was a baby. This condition is called phimosis. And it basically is a short skin on the foreskin of males, which doesn't allow the skin to pull back and uncover the glands, which means basically they cannot have sex. Not even in company, neither alone. Edoardo got diagnosed with this thing when he was 5, and he still remembers the day in which the doctor went home. And he said to his parents, well, there are only 2 solutions. Either you cut this kid and you circumcise him, or you try to exercise with him and see if the skin eventually will become a bit longer or smoother, and so we can avoid the operation. And of course, being an overprotective and very nice Italian family, the family decided to go for the second one. And so every Sunday for many years, instead of going down the street and cleaning their car, they decided to clean their kid penis. All together, the father and the mother, salviets, hot water, until one day, even the little sister, she wants to join the family. And this is when Edoardo says, look, it's enough. I'm going to do it myself. But he doesn't. And the situation grows more and more difficult. Basically, in all these years, Edoardo has built around himself a shell that protects him from the world. And the way he managed to cope with love and this turmoil of desires, which obviously is a teenager, is by idealizing love. He is in love with his neighbor. She comes every summer. They write love letters. She's with someone else, and he's happy because this allows him not to go and overcome his fears and accept his condition. Of course, the operation is still an option, but not for Edoardo. It's not only scared about hospitals, syringes, blood, it's something more intimate that has been growing up in the years. There is a sense of fear of exposure, of a physical exposure, but also of a metaphorical exposure to a machist society, Italian societies in the 90s, I would still see nowadays, in which you have to be a man in certain ways, or you're not. And all around is ambient. Even his father, who's supposed to be a friend, he treats him like a girl, like a sissy. He says you have to be more a man, you have to be more courageous, you have to cut the relation with this house, and you have to go to Austin, Texas. You had to become a man, and if you want to become a man, you should watch some Western films that I prepared for you. They're great, they'll do you well. His best friend Samir, it's a sexual-driven animal. It only thinks about sex, it only talks about sex, and is always pushing Edoardo to be a man. But let's go back for a second to this toilet now. Edoardo and the octopus. Why now? Why this summer? Why hasn't he thought before? Because 2 days before, thanks to Samir, he finally met a girl which is not beautiful as Bianca. Maybe she's not as culturally aware as Bianca. She's a rough girl from the village. But for the first time, she introduced Edoardo to sex. And in the moment in which they were supposed to have sex, Edoardo has failed. And now he lives in fear, in shame. And on the way back home, he thinks about his cowboy and his father, and the only thing he can say, the only thing he can see, is a cowboy without his horse, and he feels miserable. As long as we follow the events of this film unfold, we soon realize that it's not a film about men or boys or teenagers, but it's a film about sexuality. And it's a film about there raise many questions within Eduardo and within us. What does it mean to love? What does it mean to be with a woman? What does it mean to love a woman and to be loved by a man? And for a woman to be loved by a man. And all these questions, at some point, in Eduardo's mind, they make him realize that he should find the courage to overcome his fears and go to the hospital and have this surgery done.
Good afternoon. I'm Babak Jalali, and as Duccio said, I'm the producer of Short Skin. Duccio and I met over a decade ago at film school in London, and we've been collaborating on many projects ever since. And we've both been confident in sharing each other's works with each other, whether it's some form of writing or something visual, to get feedback on different stages. I produced 2 of his short films, and what strikes me about Duccio is that he's very unique in bringing this element of humor and lightness of touch to deeper subjects, whether it's to do with storytelling or whether you're sitting out on the streets with him. It's never a dull moment. And I think he's shown that with his previous work, such as his short films and also his last documentary, Hit the Road Nonna, which was in Venice Days 2 years ago. With Short Skin, we both think it's very important in order for Duccio to realize his vision and preserve his integrity and tell the story that he wants to tell in this intimate, humorous way, is to have a very small crew, not a lot of money, so he can totally focus on that. I just produced a feature film for a very low budget, which was in Venice Critics Week this year, and won the Luigi De Laurentiis Award for Lion for Best Debut Film, called White Shadow, and that was done in much the same way. It was, the director needed a small crew, small team around him, people he can trust, in order to realize his vision. And we want to take this spirit forward with White Shadow, with Short Skin, with Short Skin. And and we have a team which we've all worked with before. For example, Noaz Deshe, who directed White Shadow, the aforementioned film, he's going to compose the music for Short Skin. And Barış Özbiçer, who's a DOP, who's a Turkish DOP, who shot a film called Bal, you may have seen. We went to film school with him, and he's going to be the DOP on the film. And other members of the LFS, London Film School alumni, are going to be helping us. And we're going to shoot the film in Pisa, which is Duccio's hometown. And as you can see, these locations, most of them are very well known to Duccio, such as his grandmother's house, which has now moved on. We don't see it anymore, but it will come again, perhaps. There you go. That's the house we're going to use for a majority of the film, and it's like a time warp. It hasn't really changed. And the surrounding areas of Marina do Pisa is what we're going to shoot with Barış's vision and our collaboration in order to hopefully make it a nice film. Thank you.
And the last thing that I want to say is that to me this story is very relevant and is important to be told, not only obviously for my experience. That's just a trigger that made me realize that in Eduardo's journey, I think every one of us will understand the power of when people are able to accept their fears and overcome them and be able to see at the others and realize that at the end, when it comes to the matters of the heart and of the soul, we kind of all have short skins.